Willkommen zurück bei The Zodiac Trial. Letztes Mal ist der Jade Emperor aufgetaucht, der aussieht wie der größte Troll auf der ganzen Welt. Aber schönes Tattoo da unten. Und er oder sie hat uns bereits das Spiel vorgestellt. Und zwar wird es ein Rennen geben. Ein Rennen mit 12 Tieren über 24 Felder. Und wer im Ziel ankommt, gewinnt. Wer es nicht schafft oder wer langsamer ist als der Sieger, wird sterben. Und das will natürlich keiner. Es gibt im Spiel ein paar Sachen, die wir noch erklären müssen oder Sachen, die wir finden müssen. Aber das war's. Wir können laufen. Wir können Items benutzen. Wir können Fähigkeiten benutzen, die wir haben. Und wir können etwas beichten. Und die Beichte muss was Besonderes sein anscheinend, weil er gibt dafür eine Bewertung von 0 bis 5 Schritten. Das heißt, better make it juicy. Oder wenigstens irgendwas, was er hören möchte wahrscheinlich. Okay. Und jetzt beginnt Runde 1. Wir haben 12 Runden Zeit und jede Runde dauert 45 Minuten. Das heißt, wir haben, ich glaube, ich habe gerechnet, wir haben 9 Stunden. Weil 45 plus 45 sind 1 Stunde 30, mal 2 sind 3 Minuten, mal 3 sind 9 Stunden. Ja, okay. Und jetzt gucken wir, was passiert. And with that final confusing message, the speaker cut off. And he left us to panic and scrabble on our own. The threat of death now officially loomed over us. My mind went blank. I could feel my face flushing, somehow hot and cold at the same time. My fingers were a jittery mess. This was horrible, scary, nonsensical. Who in their right mind would dress up like a character from some ancient legend and force people to play some stupid, confusing, arbitrary game with their lives at stake? It was so weird. It was so scary. And yet, I took a deep breath in and another out. And all of a sudden, it all just flashed through my system. I was still scared and not confused down, but the mind-numbing panic the others were in, that I was in a second ago, it had left me. This was my greatest talent, something I inherited from my father. When the stakes are high, the chips are down, that's when fear chokes you. But I could choose not to feel it. It was a weird thing. It wasn't like I could just choose not to feel any other emotion. But fear, for some reason, I had perfect control over it. For now, I had to survey the scene. People were freaking out, just like I just was. I can't. I don't want to die. Please, come on, Mr. Jade Emperor. We can work something out, can't we? Come back on the screen or something. I'm sure we can come to some kind of understanding here. What? You think you can kill me just cause you got some fucking knife in my throat or something? Fuck you. And fuck your whole deal. I will mess you up. You're nothing more than a coward hiding behind a fucking desk. This can't be happening. Surely this is some sort of no, but it can't be a mistake. Things were abundantly clear. Is this how I meet my end? As intelligently as this, there must be some sort of mistake. If no one spoke up, they'd all likely be spinning their wheels for quite a bit. That was time I couldn't afford to waste. Hey, everyone! Everyone needs to quit panicking and take a deep breath. With that, I got everyone's attention. Look, I know this really sucks, but it's not like we're doomed or anything. The Emperor himself said that if we keep our cool, all of us can get out of this alive. There's no reason to panic yet. Everything's going to be okay. But... Mouse is right. You all need to quit mobbing around. Who's that gonna help, huh? No one. The answer's super simple. The only thing we gotta do is cross the finish line at the same time before the 12th rounds. It's as simple as that. Is it really going to be that simple? It's hard to say at the moment. We may run into complications. However, Mouse and Tiger are right. We're far from being out of options. If we keep cool, it's fairly likely we can all get out fine. For now, we should all find separate rooms and check out our tablets. Specifically, knowing what everyone's individual abilities maybe useful. Das war total die falsche Betonung. Sounds about as good as plan as anything else. Keeping inner peace at difficult times can be a struggle, but we must strive for it. Fine. For now, we work together. Yay! Warte, Hund hat nichts gesagt. It seemed as though the group was able to come to their sense together. Good, great. With this, things should be fine. There's no reason to panic. We all started walking off to separate rooms. Dragon, Snake, and I walked down the left hallway. Still, who the fuck would want to put me in this bullshit? I wonder, could it be him? Before I could ask what Snake was musing about, he entered the library alone. Dragon entered the teacher's office to the left, so I went a little further and found a laboratory. After checking to make sure no one else was in the room with me, I tried turning my tablet on. Da haben wir es ja. Run, das heißt, wir bewegen uns ein Feld vorne. Act ist die Fähigkeit. Confess, habe ich erklärt. Und Items gibt es hier in der Schule. Es gibt 24 Items, ein großes für jedes Tier und ein kleineres für jedes Tier, die ebenfalls verschieden funktionieren. Die kleineren funktionieren so: Wenn ich als Maus sage, ich nutze es und kein anderer, kriege ich einen Schritt. Wenn ich sage, ich nutze es und Hund nutzt es auch, kriegen wir beide 2 Schritte. Das heißt, idealerweise müssten wir uns alle benutzen. Ganz ernsthaft, alle 12 benutzt die Dinger zur gleichen Zeit 12 Schritte. Und ab da muss jeder noch laufen. Oder? 12 Runden, 24 Schritte? Nee, warte. Dann bist du bei 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. Ein Feld fehlt da noch. Nee, never mind, alles gut. Sure enough, I was brought to a fairly standard-looking screen. Usefully, the top right actually displayed the time left before the end of the round. There were a number of buttons: run, action, confess, and item. And at the top, there was an information button. That was what I wanted for now. I clicked on it, and it brought me to a separate page. Personality, clever. What did that mean? Whatever, it was probably some dumb flavor text the Psycho had included. More importantly, I looked at the section titled Mouse Ability. Oh, ich bin sogar wirklich Maus. Ich bin nicht Ratte, ich bin Maus. Cool. Sneaky right. Huh? Apparently, every turn I could target another animal. Then, during their action, I would move the same number of spaces in the same direction as them. I guess that could be useful. Though it seemed like I couldn't do much by myself. Ah, toll. Es passt ja, weil die Ratte, die Maus, ist bei der Geschichte, die uns Sheep erzählt hat, ebenfalls auf dem Ochsen mitgeritten. At any rate, now that I knew my ability, I decided to return to the cafeteria. It wasn't long before everyone else was gathered too. So, was everyone able to manage the tablet properly? It was a bit of a trial, I must admit, but it was no match for me. It's a pretty good coding job. This wasn't just thrown together. Whoever made it clearly spent quite a bit of time on it. What are you talking about? It's just a few buttons. That's, Tiger, I think you're underestimating the work coders do. Even something as simple as creating a clean, well-working UI with nothing but custom code can be a real challenge. Plus, it's apparently connected to the system which will move our animals around. That's not even mentioning how it was modded onto a pre-established tablet, which tends to have a hell of a lot of firewalls to stop stuff like that. I mean, it's not like it's the most amazing invention of all time, but there's definitely a bit of work that went into it. No shit. A lot of work also went into kidnapping 12 people and decking a whole school out to be a fucked up killing game. Is this discussion fruitful? Surely our time would be better spent discussing the abilities we each possess. That's an excellent point, Monkey. We ought to start talking about that. In fact, I'll start. My ability is called Sneaky Right. It allows me to choose an animal, and then later, when the animal moves, I move the same number of spaces. A reference to the original fable, no doubt. That's a pretty handy ability. I guess, but it's kind of dependent on the other people. That's why it's so handy. It's a perfect example of mirrored play. Mirror play? It's a concept that comes up in a lot of places though, most frequently in gambling. Just as an example, let's say you and Rooster had a little bet going. You two were at the casino and you were competing to see who could win the most money at a roulette table in an hour. Ha! I'm down! Rooster, this is just an example. Rooster, this is just an example. Now let's say with 50 minutes left, Mouse, you've got 45 chips, and Rooster, 30 chips. What? I rule at roulette. Why would I be losing? Like Mouse said, it's hypothetical. Well, your hypothetical sucks if it involves me losing. Fine. You're at 45 and she's at 30. Happy? Yeah, that fits much better. Great. Now let's say Mouse beats all 30 of her chips on blank. What would you do? Easy. I bet 45 chips on red. Dumm. Du bietest auch 30 Chips auf blank. Denn wenn sie verliert, verlierst du auch. Aber du hast noch 15 übrig. Sie hat 0. Why? Because I'm not to be outdone. And red's my lucky color. You sound like you'd be fun to gamble with. But no. The right choice would be to also beat 30 on black. If the roulette ends up on red, she'd be out and you'd be left with 15. Whereas if the roulette ends up on black, you're still leading 90 chips to 60. Yeah, but if you beat 45 on red and it winds up on red, you have 90 and stupid Mouse would have nothing. You realize that in the context of the bet, it doesn't matter if you will be 90 or if you win by 90 or if you win by 15, right? Maybe if you're playing a coward's game. Okay, well, I think Rooster's not going to get it, but I hope my overall point is clear. Mirror play refers to the strategy where if you're in the lead, sometimes your best bet is to just copy what your opponent does. That way, they'll never be able to catch up to you. In the context of the race, if Mouse only had one opponent and she was in the lead, this ability would guarantee her victory. Of course, the issue with the strategy, both here and elsewhere, is that other people exist. It's not like you can copy all 11 people's moves. But if you knew who would move the most spaces each turn, you can guarantee a joint win, and at least. I see what you mean. Still, I don't know how helpful it would be for getting a 12-way joint win. I don't think my ability is going to be any more useful. I've got a thing called Stampede. Basically, it allows me to move to the space behind the animal currently in the first place. That doesn't sound that bad. If you're way behind, that could move you way further up. Sure, but it never lets me actually take the lead. Plus, thanks to the movement order, it'll always work out so that after I stampede, the person in first will be able to move again. My ability is super cool. It's called Dive. So it lets me instantly move to the nearest river. With that, you could take an early lead and move 8 spaces forward on the first turn. Yeah, but it doesn't seem to be the most consistent ability. After all, it's the closest river, yeah? I'll need to move forward a bit before I could use it again, if I don't want to jump back to the first river. And after I pass the second river, it's completely useless. At least your ability is consistent. Mine's called Lucky Bounce. It moves my animal either 1, 2, or 3 spaces forward at random. At random? That's odd. Why? Well, all the other abilities seem consistent. It's an odd design choice to add a single piece of randomness. Ich meine, es heißt ja Glückspfote vom Hasen, also es macht ja Sinn, es ist Glück. Yeah, well, I think it's probably based on the idea of a lucky rabbit's foot. Woo! Called it! It's pretty useless though. My ability is pretty kick-ass. At least this Jade fuck had the good sense to let me fuck shit up. I've got Dragon Breath. I could choose any lane to breathe fire on. At the end of the turn, anyone in the lane gets burned, and they won't be able to move for the next 3 turns. An offensive ability? Won't be able to move, huh? So it means abilities that don't involve you moving will still be active. Seems like that might be useful if someone tries to rush to first place. Or if Dragon wanted to rush to first place. Oh, Quit your whining, will ya? I know I might come across bad, but I'm not some scum who'd sacrifice others to save herself. I was just, angry at the fact that I was kidnapped and put in this situation. It's alright, Reagan. We forgive you. Yeah, I'm not apologizing for shit. Get that thought out of your head. I'm just saying I'm not looking to kill anyone today. Well, we'll leave it at that then. Snake, what about you?
Ah, my turn to divulge my ability, yes. I believe it would be prudent for me to not say it at this moment.
What? Snake, are you serious right now?
I ask that you trust me when I say that I doubt it would be of much use in this situation.
That's not the point, Snake. We all agreed that we'd share abilities.
As a matter of fact, I don't believe anyone ever said that, merely that we should all check them and reconvince. But either way, I don't hide my ability for no good reason. While I would love for everyone to work together and get out smoothly, I somehow doubt that the Jade Emperor would go through all of this if it would be possible. There is a real chance we'll end up having someone among us who will betray the group's trust and attempt to win alone. In that case, my ability may be a last-minute tool to prevent such a scenario. However, I must admit my ability is highly conditional. If a potential betrayer knew it ahead of time, they'd easily be able to counteract it. Therefore, for the sake of the group, I believe it best to keep this ability to myself until further notice.
Well, it makes sense, I guess. You make a convincing argument, I guess, I must admit.
I don't like it.
Me neither. How do you know anything this fuck just said is even true?
Look, if I really had nefarious intentions, I could simply make up an ability of not much use and claim it as my own. Does the fact that I am outwardly withholding my ability not in itself imply I am trustworthy?
Seems like some backwards logic to me, but whatever floats your boat. Whatever, we don't have time to go back and forth like this. We can't start doubting each other this early. If Snake says he has a good reason for withholding his ability, I'm going to trust him.
I appreciate that, Mouse. Now your trust is not misplaced.
Ich weiß ja nicht. Ich weiß ja nicht.
Well, if that's settled, shall I go next?
Yeah, go ahead.
I've got a move called Steady Gallop. It lets me move 3 spaces.
That's it?
That's it.
So I guess it's just a better run then.
It's simple. I like it. Would you look at that bunny? It appears Horse simply got a better version of your ability.
Hey, I guess you're right. How unfair is that? Who's balancing the thing? I don't know. Maybe there are situations where it's better for your movements to be random.
I struggle to think of such a situation.
I don't know if my ability is any good. It's called Sweet Sleep. It does nothing on its own, but it lets me make 2 extra actions next turn.
Hey, that could be good.
It's not exactly a very fast-paced or flash ability, though.
Oh, das war falsch Person. Das war Ochse. Das war nicht Pferd. Warte. Die kann zweimal... Warte, wie geht's nochmal? Warte kurz. Sweet Sleep. It does nothing on its own, but it lets me make 2 extra actions next turn. Die Frage ist, kann sie das doppelt machen? Also kann sie schlafen, da hat sie 2. Schlafen, dann hat sie 4. Schlaf, hat sie 8. Geht das? Weil das wäre OP wie sonst was, denn dadurch kann sie easy gewinnen. Dann braucht sie nur 6 Runden schlafen oder so und dann hat sie 1, schlafen, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32. Dann hat sie gewonnen. Und wenn es nur einmal geht, dann hat sie halt einschlafen. Dann hat sie schlafen, einlaufen, schlafen, einlaufen, schlafen, einlaufen. Okay, da macht es nicht mal so viel Sinn. Ich hoffe, es kann stacken, das wäre cool. Okay. My ability is also conditional. However, I find that it may be of use to the group. It's called Monkey See, Monkey Do. It allows me to use any of the abilities used last turn, as if they were my own. Wow, that's really powerful. So basically you get to use anyone's ability? That's like wicked busted, man. That's an ability fit for a main character. That's a supporting role. Am I merely a supporting role? You're a therapist. You support people. That's your role. I don't know if it's actually all that powerful. I mean, don't get me wrong. In the right context, it could be great. But it's only ever going to be useful if other people are using their abilities. You can never fire the first shot as you will. Instead, you're entirely dependent on the actions of others. But if things get to the point where most people are using their abilities frequently, she'll be in a powerful position.
Hopefully it won't get to that point.
Alright, let's get to my ability already. And man, you guys are gonna love this. Seriously, you better start kissing my ass now, trying to win me over.
Just get on with it.
I've got a thing called encouraging crow. It moves any other animal 4 spaces forward.
4 spaces, huh? That could be pretty good. But you can't use it yourself, right? Only other people?
Yes, well, I imagine people will be begging for me to give them a blessing.
Seems to me like out of anyone, you're the one with the most supporting role in all of this.
Well, you know what they say. If you shine the brightest, you only shine slightly brighter than everyone else's brightness. Das macht keinen Sinn.
We don't have time to try deconstructing that. Dog, could you tell us your ability?
Sure thing. Not that it's much of anything. It's called Rapid Leap. I jump over the closest person in front of me. And by jumping, I basically mirror my position in relationship to theirs. Like, if someone was 1 space in front of me, I'd move 2 spaces. But if someone was 3 spaces in front of me, I'd move 6. The ability is not great unless I'm really far behind. But then again, since I come almost last in the moving order, it's basically a guaranteed 2 spaces at least.
That's alright. Then should I say what I can do?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, so my ability is called Loser's Desperation. For some reason. It's not a very good name. But it is a good ability. I can move 1 space for every person ahead of me. Which means I can catch up if I'm far behind.
Actually, considering that you come last in the animal movement, it's not improbable that you could use it to move 11 spaces.
Maybe, but even if I get a lead like that, I can't do anything when I'm ahead. It's worse than just running when I'm in first.
So that's that then. That's everyone's abilities? And what was the point of that exactly? It felt like I was in class or something.
It gave us peace of mind and a greater perspective.
True, but I don't know if answered the question of what we should do now.
We all need to cross the finish line at the same time, right? It's simple then. Let's all just promise to run every turn. That way, we move at the same rate and finish at the same time. Ja, Problem ist ja, du kannst nicht finishen, weil du 12 Schritte gehen musst. Nee, schlimmer. Du musst 24 laufen. Du hast so 12 Runden. Das heißt, keiner wird das Spiel beenden. Sorry.
Moron, weren't you listening to the damn rules? We've only got 12 turns to cross, and there's 24 spaces to move. If we win each turn, we get halfway there.
So that's it then. We're screwed!
Calm down, everyone. I'm sure we can come to some sort of solution here. We have a lot of abilities at our disposal. Maybe we can work something out.
Curses! We're really being undone by this stupid game. Who on earth would put us through something this childish?
Actually, I think I might know who the Jade Emperor is.
What?
For real? Seriously? You're not messing with us, are you?
So it seems I was not the only one to notice.
Wait, Snake, you know too? Why did you say anything earlier?
What good would it do?
What good? I think I've got the goddamn right to know who's putting us through this bullshit.
I don't think talking about it is wise.
Well, at this point, I think we're all going to demand to know.
Monkey, who do you think it is? To be clear, I'm not certain. However, there's a piece of evidence which strongly leads to this conclusion. As some of you might have noticed, the Jade Emperor had what looked like part of a butterfly tattoo exposed on his hand. Monkey was right. I had seen it too.
Ja, ich hab's auch gesehen!
There's someone I know who also has a butterfly tattoo there on his body. And this person is disturbed. Someone I've warned about. A patient of mine. Who? Brian Morris. Morris, the last name, No. His mother brought him to me. She asked me to try to help him control his violent streak. Ever since his father was executed, he had been struggling. I tried, I swear. I tried everything I knew to try to help him, but it would only make him angrier. Recently, he even stopped coming to the sessions. I told his mother about this. I warned her that her son might have some serious issues, but I never thought I'd amount to something like this.
Morris, huh? Now things are starting to come together.
Falsely executed? No, this can't be the same guy.
Yo, what the fuck are you people talking about? You all know this punk? What's going on? Wir kriegen Backstory. Jetzt wird spannend. Okay. Aber das kommt erst im nächsten Part. Das heißt, wir müssen ein bisschen gucken, was noch passiert. Und ja, das Spiel, ich sehe jetzt schon kommen, dass ich eine Menge denken muss. Denn das ist sehr strategisch. Ich will das alle überleben, aber es ist schwer. Nein. Okay. Ich hoffe aber, das Spiel gefällt euch, denn mir gefällt es schon mal sehr gut. Und wir sehen uns beim nächsten Part bei The Zodiac Trial. Tschüss!